Well, good Thursday evening, everybody. Meteorologist Kevin Corvo, WMTV 15 Plus Weather Streaming. We're going to get into a little bit more about the weather that's happening around the area. If you're like a lot of people around here, you're getting really tired of the cold. Now, it has been since the end of last week. We went into first alert days on Friday because of the cold. Classes were canceled, businesses closed early or closed completely, and that cold has really been sticking around through today and unfortunately into tomorrow as well. But the good news is we will be breaking out of the cold as we head into the weekend. So that's some good news. We just have to get through one more day, and tomorrow actually won't be that bad of a day. It's going to be very similar to what we had today. But you know what? The magic number is 50. 50 days until spring. Absolutely. I know a lot of people think, okay, we've had enough winter. This week kind of took all of my winter energy out. So yeah, 50 days until spring. That's some good news. So we're more than, well, not more. We're about a little bit more, a little bit less than halfway. Yeah, 45 days will take us to halfway to spring. All right, today I want to show you what we've been having for the past month. Take a look at the calendar. This is January. And when you take a look at January, in terms of those temperatures, you'll notice, you know, we had a chilly start, 15 degrees, close to where we are now. And then we had a very warm week starting on the 4th and almost a half a week starting on the 11th. But really, from the 17th on, it has been chilly. Notice those temperatures. Out of all of those temperatures, only one day was in the 20s. And our coldest day was just a couple days later on the 23rd, where we hit -4. Now tomorrow and also on Saturday, those two boxes, I'll tell you right now, are going to be blue. Those are going to be below average days. And we'll get into the details of what that's going to look like. All right, today we did get up to 12 degrees. So that's about 15 degrees below average. And our morning low was 21 degrees below average. So this morning got down to -10, where normally we should be about 11 degrees. These temperatures now, I want to tell you these averages, where we stand right now in January, likely are not changing too much. This is kind of where we plateau for our lowest temperatures. So going forward, you know, 27 will likely be the average until we start slowly making that number go up. All right, currently we are feeling like 10 degrees, and we are 10 degrees. The reason being is we don't have any wind out there at the moment. We're looking at some calm or light and variable winds, just depending on where you are. Unfortunately, Monroe feels like -3, and Viroqua feels like -4. The rest of us this evening will start to feel like we're in those negative single digits and then into those negative teens. Good news is winds have been light, but you'll notice starting around 3 a.m., they start to ramp up a little bit more. So by 7 a.m., we're talking about 10-mile-per-hour winds. And that also means tomorrow morning, we will be having that wind chill with our low temperature. So tomorrow morning, this is what we're expecting around the area. You're going to be waking up to -10 as a wind chill, low of 0. Janesville -2 with a wind chill of -14, and up towards Camp Douglas feeling -14 as well. The good news is this is the last day that morning temperatures are going to be this low. So tomorrow morning, that's the last morning for the next 7 to 10 days, and then our high temperatures tomorrow afternoon are going to be likely the lowest we see for the next 7 to 10 days. So tomorrow we do expect to get up to about 15 degrees, very similar to where we were today and yesterday. So these 3 days not really changing too much. And we did have the sun today. We had the sun yesterday. Tomorrow it is going to be a mix of clouds mostly and some sun, but mostly it's going to be clouds in the forecast. Then on Saturday, we get back up into the 20s, which is, like I said, that hasn't happened in quite a while. 22 in Madison, 23 in Monroe, Janesville at 24 degrees, Milwaukee 25. And if you look at the 10-day forecast, which I like this 10-day forecast because last week it did not look like this at all. With 27 being our average, we're going to get to average on Sunday, and we're going to stay very close to average all the way through the week, possibly getting to just freezing at 32 on Friday, and then bringing those temperatures down next weekend, the following weekend. So this is what we're going to be having our way. There will be some melting because when you get temperatures during the day of 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, the pavement starts to warm up with the sun, with the radiational absorption that it takes in, and we start to melt a little bit of that snow. Unfortunately, it's going to refreeze overnight. 7-day forecast looks like this. We have a red bar on Friday. That's tomorrow. The red bar is mostly for those morning chills. So after that, notice on Saturday morning, 5 degrees will be our morning low. On Sunday, 4 degrees, but then we're back into the teens. Actually, our morning lows starting on Monday are going to be above average for this time of year. And then on Monday, it is Groundhog Day. And I don't know about you, but I am definitely ready for an early spring. All right, when I come back, we got some video to show you. I'm going to take you to 3 places and show you some information, particularly down in Mississippi, also about what's going to be happening across much of the eastern seaboard as well as the Northeast. Then we'll break it down coming up after that. So stay with me. I will be back in about 60 seconds with more weather. All right, everybody, we're back. I just want to show you around real quick. If you haven't noticed what's behind me, this is our newsroom. And if you go through that exit door right there, that is where the studio is. And over towards the left right here, that is our control room. And the people that you see behind me are MMJs, there's reporters, we got anchors, we have producers. Over here to my right, we got Jocko, and we have Audrey getting ready for some sports. So I just wanted to kind of show you. Also, if you've ever driven by our building, we got those big windows. I'm actually by one of those big windows, and the belt line is right there. All right, let's get into some information, some videos I want to show you. We're first going to start off with this southeast storm that's coming. Another powerful winter storm is expected to hit the southeast this weekend, unfortunately. And models show that a bomb cyclone might affect the Carolinas and parts of Virginia starting on Saturday. Look how wound up that is. It is not real clear if areas further north will see a blizzard or just light snow. It really depends on how that storm goes more towards the east. But forecasters think that even Atlanta, Knoxville, Roanoke could also see some flakes as well. Now, following that storm, an extreme cold snap that could affect millions of people in the U.S. is expected to be one of the longest in decades. The bitter cold is predicted to extend into next week with a new surge of frigid air. Between Friday and Monday, more than 200 daily cold temperature records could be broken. The south and east could see temperatures drop more than 30 degrees below normal. In New York City and Chicago, residents could also see one of the coldest mornings in years. And take a look at this. In Mississippi, 10 people were taken to the hospital after a gas station canopy collapsed in Greenville, Mississippi. The fire department says it was likely caused by the excessive weight of snow on top of the canopy. Of course, in Mississippi, they don't expect to have snow on the canopy. Several vehicles were crushed. Greenville crews said a second canopy also collapsed in the area at a different location. And that crash damaged a couple of cars, and also, of course, 10 people were taken to the hospital. When I come back, we're going to talk more about what that next winter storm is going to be doing. Of course, so many people have been impacted by the storm this past weekend from Texas all the way up the East Coast. A lot haven't even recovered. A lot of the power still may be out. Now we have another storm that is coming. Now this storm is going to have a little bit of a different path, but if you are traveling towards the East Coast, maybe Florida, Georgia, all the way up towards New York or Boston, this storm will likely impact your travel or anybody that's coming into our area. So when I come back, we'll talk more about our next winter storm. Luckily, we'll be out of it, but it's going to impact quite a bit of the United States. Stick with me. I'll be back in 1 minute. All right, everybody, let's talk a little bit more nationally because, we yes, we had the cold and we had the extreme cold, but the rest of the United States, particularly the South, the Southeast, and the East, really suffered through our last winter storm. Take a look at the temperatures right now, and still a lot of people down towards the South where the power is out, those temperatures are still very chilly at night. It's gotten better. Right now, Little Rock is at 37, Dallas is at 40. Those areas in Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi, where the ice was a really big problem, those temperatures are still well below average for what they normally experience this time of year. And, their homes are not built like ours. They do not have the preparedness of temperatures like this. And of course, when the power goes out, that is a major problem. All right, take a look across the United States right now. Things are fairly quiet. We do have a little bit of snow going over towards Michigan. We have some snow coming down across the Central Plains. A bit of snow up towards New England and some rain up there towards Portland, Oregon, as well as into, excuse me, as well as into areas such as Washington State. So tomorrow, not looking too bad. You can see a lot of the United States is going to be pretty good. Travel is not going to be a factor for tomorrow. But what is going to begin the indication starting on Friday is, notice right here across the Appalachians, right in this area, right here, you see that snow beginning to form. That is the first signs of our next big winter storm that is really going to be impacting that East Coast. So this is a look on Friday. Let's go into Saturday. I want to show you how that storm develops. And you can see right here, I could actually put an area of low pressure here. Let's see if I have it on my palettes for you. But you know what I'm saying. An area of low pressure right about here. Low pressure with an arrow. That is where our winter storm is beginning. And you can see the travel disruptions here on Saturday for Charlotte, Atlanta. I don't know why Orlando's under that, but that is only the beginning. We're talking North Carolina, we're talking South Carolina, we're talking Virginia on Saturday. We're looking pretty good, though, for Saturday as well. Then this is a storm moving up the coast. Now, the big problem with forecasting a nor'easter really determines in miles. If the path of the storm is just about like this, all right, then you'll get snow mostly on the west side or the northwest side, and you get the rain on the southeast side. If this storm were to track a little bit more like this, just maybe 50 miles more towards the northwest, it makes a big difference on what people, particularly going up the eastern seaboard, will receive. So when we track this storm, mileage really makes a difference on a little bit more towards the east, a little bit more towards the west, on what people will be receiving for their winter storm. But anyway, it is not going to be a pretty weekend across much of New England. And look at those temperatures. So you can see all the way down towards Atlanta tomorrow, that cold air pushing through. But when you take a look at what's happening here on Saturday, those temperatures dive again. Now for us, we get out of it. Mostly the cold air is going to be in this area right here. Yes, we're below average, but what's going to be happening is this system will continue to pull the cold air more towards the east and more towards the southeast. So that means these areas are going to stay very cold while we'll start to warm up or start to modify a little bit more. But you can see how chilly, even Atlanta, they just had some extreme cold. They're going back to a high of only 30 degrees. New Orleans, 40 degrees. Orlando, 59 degrees. And for Florida, that is very, very cold. So that is what is happening across the United States as we go into the next couple of days. For us, we have finally getting out of this stretch of very cold air. That is the good news for us. We are tracking a bit of snow for tomorrow. I don't think I mentioned that, but we could have a little bit of a dusting tomorrow. And then we're also tracking a little bit of snow coming in on Sunday. But actually, we're looking at some quiet weather going forward and temperatures finally coming back to average. All right, that wraps it up for me. I will see you coming up at 9 o'clock on the CW, as well as at 10 o'clock on WMTV 15 News with all the latest information, as well as your news, as well as your sports. Take care.